Squad cars. The story you're about to hear is true.
How's it? My name's Wayne Barker. I was born in 1963 in Valhalla, in Pretoria. I loved catching a bus at the age of 5 and walking around the statue of Paul Kruger and the statue of those Boer men and seeing the monument. And in fact, I didn't realize they were affecting the entire white population. In my later work, I've deconstructed these images. I remember I could swim before I could walk. And I feel that I've jumped into the world. I ended up at Michaelis for 2 years, and then the professor told me that I should go to the army and get discipline and become a painter. In 1985, I was conscripted to do my national service, in a way to be initiated as a white male into manhood. But I decided, no way, Jose, I'm going to partake in this rubbish. I saw the army as a treadmill. And in a way, I think it was almost like a songololo, because the songololo with this little songololo with 1,000 feet and 1,000 boots. And I didn't want to be another one of the 1,000 boots who was going to go into a township and randomly shoot through tin shacks. And I convinced this machine that, in fact, I was a mad individual. I had to pretend to be Charlie Chaplin. So for 14 days, I marched like Charlie Chaplin. I was the fucking Engelsman. You know, it was quite difficult, but in fact, it was hilarious. I'd been given this certificate to say that I was mentally and physically unable to partake in this military service. I am an artist because what I'm trying to do is assimilate all these major contradictions that have happened in my life and that happen in this country. What I used to do is go to the Johannesburg Art Gallery every single day. And each time I was confronted with these PNF works. The people at that point, in the 30s, used to believe that the land was given to the white people by God. And that, in fact, the white people have to teach the black barbarians about God. And in a way, that's how these monstrosity landscapes that PNF painted, they're really about that. If you read the subtext, the behind the scenes. So I think what I was trying to do is take the behind the scenes and put them in front of the scenes. And at that point, I think I was sort of labeled as this young iconoclast. I'm a white male, I'm part of the fabric of this country, that in a way, you know, I'm part of this story, this huge, massive story. I then make these works that are there, in your face. The way that we see things and the way that we are two different things. After doing the paintings of the PNF and the Zulus, I went to Mozambique. And walking around Mozambique and going into hospitals and seeing no doctors and seeing coke machines in this war-torn area, for me, was like a massive installation of apartheid. So the first installation I made was called Coke Adds Life. If you get a coke machine to a hospital, can't you get a doctor there? Since '95, I've been exhibiting more internationally than locally. I spent 2 years working and living in France and Germany. And at the Colours exhibition in Berlin, I met President Nelson Mandela, who signed a painting of mine called Hope. And being out of my country during this time, I found it quite confusing being part of this process of globalization and being part of a culture in transition. I can't talk about apartheid anymore. I can't talk about this or that. I have to go inside. And in a way, it's a little bit disabilitating because I've been dealing with South Africa in such an intense way, with irony. So being out my country, I have to now reflect on my own life and my own emotions and my own stories, which in fact is quite difficult, but at the same time I think quite challenging in terms of who am I? Am I a white Kaffir?